on Monday, July 13th in Town Hall.
It's fine, don't worry about it.
No, we are recording.
We're on. Okay,
I
I'm
pushed the
sorry.
button.
Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Sure. Elsa Payne, Chairman.
Present.
Ian Featherstone, Vice Chairman.
Present.
George D. Bush, Secretary, President. Chuck Worley.
Present.
John F. Claffey Jr.
Present.
Jason Decker.
Present.
Peter Stunt.
Present.
Robert Singer, alternate.
Present.
Roll call taken, Madam Chairman.
We have all our regular members.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 22nd?
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 22nd, 2015.
Second.
Are there any comments? Any questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye. Maybe a little late, but I noticed that at the bottom of the page. Was there a meeting minutes or
Typo. It's just a typo.
All right, moving on then, do we have any comments from any of the members?
I have one here pertaining to the town of Glastonbury. The Water Pollution Control Authority is working on a 20-year master sewer plan, which has identified several areas of the town that should be considered for inclusion in the sewer system. And this will be the first time it's been updated since the 1970s. The other just point of true I'll mention is the towns that are being looked at they have a high rate of failure due to poor soils and ledge. And we're going to look up these areas. And the closing sentence here is, right now there's a high percentage of septic failures in Glastonbury. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the staff reports.
You have the financial report, and we have some housekeeping. The first is the operating budget for June 2015. This is simply for June. You'll get another one that is the closing reconciliation for the fiscal year. But as you can see at this point, we will be returning in excess slightly of $25,000 to the town. We have one bill tonight that will impact that. Which is not on your list.
May I have a motion to accept this budget report?
So moved.
Second.
Open for discussion, on board.
I didn't see any detail on my fault, but what happened at Wise 34 Meadow, what,
No, no, we're looking.
Oh, no, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh,
We're looking at this budget report.
excuse me.
She didn't.
Okay. Skip that page.
Second page.
Back to that page.
We'll get there, I promise.
I know you will. Sorry.
That's it.
second thing on the list is a summary. I used to give them to you each meeting regarding Clean Water Fund requisitions. And so in an effort to catch up, these are requisitions 1 through 3. And we'll have them monthly going forward. So that is the status of where we are. The summary report from the state is included. And the cover that I've done is so that you can see it by categories that the summary report does not show.
Now that we're repaying the loan, are you showing 2 different things here?
No, this is phase 2. We're
This is-
repaying a loan for phase 1. Phase 1
Okay,
is
that's not on this report.
gone.
Oh, okay.
no more. Okay? So this is against a $15 million budget for phase 2. And this is really an FYI to you folks.
Mhm. Any other questions?
The final piece of housekeeping is the caveat. It's been quite some time since we've had a caveat, but to refresh your memory, this is a listing of properties that have accepted clean water funds, and these are done within a contract. So these are the properties that accepted clean water funds for Maple Avenue North 1. Okay? And what we need to, and it's recorded with the town clerk. And what we need to do with this is a motion to direct the chairman to sign it. And I will pass it around for anybody who wants to see it.
Anyone care to make that motion?
So made.
I'll second it.
So it just goes on the land records to show that these properties have committed to having their septic systems upgraded using clean water funds.
Not having seen this before, would you please just elaborate a little bit on why we have to do this for these particular properties? Do we do this for all properties?
We do this only for properties that have accepted clean water funds. And in other words, the properties that were done in Saybrook Acres have a caveat. Cornfield Park has a caveat, listing all the properties there, that if they did not accept clean water funds, then they are not part of our program. They are not on that list. That is only, so everything that has been done to date, which is 314 properties in phase 1, and Meadowwood 2, Meadowwood, and Ingham Hill 1. All those caveats have already been done. And this, you'll see it again for Maple Avenue North 2, and for 3, 4, and 5. But I did not answer your question because I really don't know why it is required. I'm afraid I knew at
Oh,
one
no,
point. but
that's
I-
okay, yeah.
I don't know why it's required. It was sufficient that it is.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor of allowing me to sign that document, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Non-construction invoices. We have Fuss and O'Neill. These have glasses, sorry. Fuss and O'Neill for $10,656.35. Wright Pierce for $8,285.43. The Hartford Current for the Maple Avenue North 1 bid advertisement for $578.16. Quality Data Service for the annual software support fee for $1,950, and there was one that I just received for Laughlin Fitzgerald for their work in June for the benefit assessment appeals in the amount of $2,895. And those are the, so that,
Now, the law firm Fitzgerald, I know I saw Phil.
Yeah, it was
It
Yeah.
was in an email.
yeah.
So this total needs to be.
No, this
listed?
is, it should be listed, it is not listed, but it's here, and we have a copy here.
Is it in this total, or is it?
It is not in that
adjusted?
total, I
Okay.
just realized that, so if you would add
Do them separately.
the $2,895 to the $21,469.94.
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to pay the non-construction invoices to Fuss and O'Neill, Wright Pierce, Hartford Current, and Quality Data Service, the amount of $21,469.94.
Second.
You make a motion to add the Laughlin and Fitzgerald at this point?
We're gonna do it separately.
Okay.
Okay, is there any comments, questions on those invoices from the board?
One brief question on the annual support fee, has that the state constitution, has that changed recently?
No, it comes up every July.
The
No,
dollar amount is not-
it's for the same amount.
Anyone else? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I'll make a motion to pay the bill to Laughlin Fitzgerald, $2,895.
Second.
Any discussion?
I thought we paid the last one that was supposedly another one sneaking in.
I was told there would not be any more until the summer, but
Sneak
this nothing.
Was that included in the operating budget report, or is that the one you have to add?
That's one of the ones that has to be added. There are a couple others that were presented, they were of a dollar amount that didn't require your attention, but they came in and they were presented very, very late in and did not make the June thing, the June report. And there'll be a report coming out at the end of this week, because the cutoff is we have until the 15th of June to present bills for the previous fiscal year. And then they will provide us, each department, with the final number. But I do not anticipate what we were at 25, 384, 42. I would guess we're gonna be somewhere around 21,000. It's not a large amount. The loss of experience was a surprise.
Anyone else? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Okay, construction invoices, and there were none missing on this one. JTR LLC, Meadowood 1, the one property there, and then 6 properties in Meadowood 2. Now, I talked to Jim Vanoli, and Jim tells me that the Ingham Hill 1, Meadowood 1 contract is about 70% complete, and the Meadowood 2 contract is approximately 30% complete. On time, on budget, etc. Right now, at this moment.
May I have a motion, please?
Oh, the total, construction invoices are $85,025.
I make a motion that we pay the total for construction invoices totaling the amount of $85,025.
Second.
Peter, do you
Well,
want to comment?
the invoices just came by my space, or my spot, and we have a $17,000 leaching system. And, can anybody, was this something that we understood, knew about? But why is this one so expensive?
It's the bidding, it's the way it was bid. It's a pump system or a strip and fill. Or both. I'd have to go look.
I just have one suggestion on that. On the invoices, a little bit more explanation as to what type of leaching system would hurt. I mean, everything gets called the leaching system, even though some are 17,000, some are 9,000, some are 12,000. There are slight differences, and I think they could be identified possibly in the invoice. Because when you're talking to us, we have no idea what they.
Well, what happens, and I don't know whether, but I will certainly ask, how the bids were previously done. The leaching was the leaching, okay? It was Mantis, it was whatever. And under the unit pricing, they addressed the issues of strip and fill, pump systems, that sort of thing. The things that take a standard vanilla leaching system and put it on steroids. Now, how the bidding is done is that all elements required to install the tank and the leaching on a property are all in $1 figure. So way that I would be able to add, and I couldn't answer that, the question, but we could have Jim Vanoli, the site manager, come and give you a brief tutorial on what these things are about.
Okay, my point is the contractor, when he's invoicing, could give a little bit more explanation as to what is, what's a $17,000 system versus, I don't think that would be too much to ask from whoever's submitting the invoice, okay? Why are you submitting an invoice for $17,000 for this leaching system? What's the difference between that and another one? I'm not sure that that would be a lot to ask the contractor to do.
Well, the as-built or the plan?
Well, is the original
Well,
bid included that?
The original bid has it, but the original bid, excuse me, is the same dollar amount. You have to look at the plan to see what it was that caused that. And we have copies of all these plans in the office. And then you end up looking at the as-built, and the as-built gives you more information, but there, I hesitate to say that there is not one place where all this data resides, except in the field notes and the understanding of the site manager. So it might be.
How are we supposed to understand that this is consistent with the bid documents and the bid pricing that was provided?
You should be provided with,
They'd have a change order. It wouldn't be sprung on the homeowner or on us.
well, no, the
These are-
purpose of them redoing that was to eliminate change orders, okay?
Well, I
What
think,
should be distributed,
you see,
what-
in this case, you have multiple board members who are saying that you've got one here that clearly is the exception to the others, and they're looking for some kind of explanation.
right,
And I would have thought that maybe the site manager would have picked up on that and said, let me just make a note to board members. Maybe you can just do this in the future and say, here's an outlier, and here's the reason why it is what it is.
I know that can be done. And what you ought to have at the beginning, and I will make sure that you all have it, is the final bid that was the lowest responsible bidder. You will have those numbers tomorrow.
I have full
And then you
confidence it's
can-
accurate. It's just for my own information. I'd
No,
like
but
to know
it's-
why it's so much more than the others.
Well, yeah, and I think for future reference, someone goes back and looks at the invoice that we paid, and it says leaching system, $8,000. They look at the next one, it says leaching system, $21,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're subject to question.
Yeah, that's a
And,
huge one.
and the thing is that we have all the paperwork that backs that up.
I
You
know.
don't, and how do I get that to you in a manageable way so that you're not being drowned in paper? I will talk to Jim Vanoli tomorrow and express your concerns to him and see how he.
Right. Well, if Steve were here, he might have the answer.
And we're not looking for a copy of the bid or.
No, but I think you ought to have it.
Well, but that's really not our question. I would like to know, what are the unique features of this particular installation that caused the, cost to be higher? And I would also like to confirm that that is consistent with the bill presented. I assume that the fact that it's signed off, I'm making an assumption that it's, somebody in our group says, yes, that's consistent with the bid document. So I'm accepting that. It's not that I'm challenging that, but I think, we would like to understand, because, I feel a little guess we missed some, not knowing more about it perhaps, but, if you can send it to some.
Well, I think this is also, a little bit of unintended consequences, where they redesigned the bidding to accommodate one thing, which was a reduction in the amount of change orders. But it made the information in the end coming out in such a broad spectrum that it was not, that it was engendering questions such as yours, which are totally and completely legitimate. And this is really the purview of the site manager. If he were here tonight, he would tell you in a heartbeat exactly, probably more information than you want to know. So we need to figure out how to get this information to you. And I'll talk to Jim about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to vote on this. All those in favor of paying the construction invoices, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Anything else, Tricia?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Bobby, you will have your report?
Steven's on vacation, I have a little short report. Okay, so we opened the bids for bid 11 North Lawn on Tuesday. We have the information, we'll put it down. And you notice we got a letter from a resident from Felicio in Indian Town, just discussing the build out in this area. And so the letter really is to the ZBA, if we wanted our habits.
Oh, okay, so that's just for our information.
Yeah. We're wrapping up the spreadsheets are right here, you know, the property counts of the building and, so, Jim's been updating, providing right here, some more stuff and lists and working with him, so there's quite detailed information. And I finished the bedroom count, so we know how many bedrooms, how many, you know, Cornfield, San Quentin, Brigham, and we want to know. And we're kind of information check, but before the end of the summer, we'd like to go to Indian Town and Saybrook. So we'll have more information next month on that. And we have your personnel report. And they're working on an amendment, just move the allocation of money down a little bit to be able to address Saybrook now. So hopefully we'll have the amendment for the next meeting. Again, he mentions that. We're also working on the large contract, so maybe later in the 3 is actually like 75 copies. We talked about that, so they have it, just got done, uploaded for, DP.
Just a question on that, 75 properties, is that gonna take it out of the small?
Yeah, so kick it into the DAS, and, we'll see what happens. But this way, Steve will be looking at the numbers. And the content is DP. So that kind of segues us into, Stephen's report. Everybody gets copies of the DP report that Stephen, I have more. I don't have one that's, basically updating and summarizing what we talked about, what he gave for phase 2, and the plan for the conventional for next year. And he's also asking for prior approval to move forward with the safety plan. So that's that. He also says that all the CRAD contracts are signed, so the CRAD board signed. He got together with Scott Martin, and went to Saybrook Manor. And for every property there, he came up with 18 components. That was one of the things. And then, market and community system test sites, they'd like to test, they test all that centralized one to community system sites. And he's working on several residence issues with all the comments. So, it's really exciting for
Bobby, do you have any idea when the board will see the report on what like the course is doing?
I thought they said by the end of the summer.
library.
Okay.
At the end of this month, I believe. Well, 31st, I thought it would be.
Well, maybe it's
Probably.
Yeah, well, I see it, but from their
Okay.
schedule.
We've got a very tight schedule, so yeah, we're gonna stay on top of it.
But the neat thing is we really have a convention. And then, looking at these areas and picking out what we can do with the conventional, and set aside every question of all the other copies.
Any other comments or questions?
I do have a question, but I don't know that it's up to you to answer it, so. But I'm concerned about Indian Hill and Saybrook Manor, and we're doing the study for community system. What kind of problems do we get into talking to homeowners now about what might be a conventional system? Or can I talk to them about conventional system, community
We're pulling
system?
them out, and we're gonna go to a public donation session, say, these are conventional, these can be done on site. And Jim Kelly's been in here, and he's pulling them out.
Okay, so,
That's all testing for quite a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
So they know.
okay, so would that mean that we would do some community system in Saybrook Manor and some conventional?
That's the plan. Well, first we've gone through the McCrae.
We don't know that yet.
Our sites have to test out, but we pull out
Right.
our conventionals.
Right, but we don't know that we're gonna be going to a community system. How can we? We don't have a report yet.
Right. Okay, we don't know we're going to community system, but we also don't know, okay, if we did go to community system, who do we include and who do we exclude?
Well, we got a pretty good idea, because like I said, Jim
Yeah,
Kelly's
it
been
could
every
be,
year,
yeah.
and he's looked at.
Based on site conditions,
Yep,
and
he's
it
looking
could
at
be
the,
possible, you have one property side by side and one's on site and the other's community.
God, I don't
Yeah.
want to be around for that.
Yeah, I know it.
Everything we've done.
But the problem is we're limited with site conditions.
If the site can handle it, it makes sense to treat it on site. Community should reserve
Well-
only for those.
Yeah, but I'm talking about also leaching field, so,
Capacity.
yeah, capacity for a community system, our sites are limited. We don't have the gallonage to handle everybody.
Well, we
So
don't,
this way, so
we
if
don't
they-
know
if
that
a
yet.
homeowner has
No,
a
but
good
we-
property,
we-
they should, their system should be on their own property, anywhere that's feasible.
That doesn't make sense to me at all. If we're
That
gonna do
was-
a community
that was the
system in a
strategy.
neighborhood,
No, no,
Because
it's
you
not
won't
a
have
neighborhood,
enough-
it's just properties that can't take it. I can very clearly see having properties spread out.
Oh, I can
toward
clearly see
neighbors,
it too, but I
having
can see,
one being
I
on,
can
one being
clearly
off.
see the uproar too.
But you don't have the dispersal. So you've got.
Well, we don't know what we have yet. I mean, that's,
No, we don't know how much dispersal.
we don't know
We have-
what
we
we're
don't
gonna have
rental properties.
for capability on community system. So we don't have that idea. It's probably a little bit premature to be asking that question. And possibly other people have thought about it and have a different idea than what we're talking about. So I'll table the question.
That was our charge, though, to do everything on site that we.
Correct.
And Chuck knows, it's a
Correct,
medical building.
and that's what we
That's what we
voted
promised
for.
people. We
And-
actually don't have any property we have to leave in town.
But also keep in mind that the people who can have a system on site, their cost is gonna be a lot less than somebody who is gonna have to do a AT system or a community system. That's gonna be more expensive. So those people are gonna be happy that they're gonna be on site for the most part.
I don't think I understood that one. Just saying.
All right, to be continued.
Yes,
We'll have maps and everything next time.
that's why we pay the big bucks. On these tough decisions.
Thank you, Robbie, is that it? Take it, we have the old business. There's other new business, we have the blood and contract recommendation.
It's not ready, we have a letter from, Kurt tonight that he has a few little irregularities and needs more information from Jeff. And I guess he didn't get it right yet tonight, so, we'll have to push it back.
So So you can't even tell us who.
Well, Jeff was above
Who the
it,
bid is?
JCR was above it. So now he just needs to get his paperwork to
How
cover.
many bidders?
There were three. It was, JTR Olmsted and then Engineer Second.
Who's that?
That's David H. Jeff, he's from Essex.
I think the one that I saw said that there were minor irregularities, which is not uncommon with some of these other things. But apparently, we didn't get a full satisfactory response in time. What's our timing in this? I mean, are we gonna need to
If you want,
meet again?
if you want to do a special meeting, you can, but I don't think it's a big rush.
Okay.
It's got work to do. Anyway.
Are we,
Keep on that.
are we ahead of schedule, on schedule?
We're on schedule, just doing one job.
Right now we are, we're on schedule.
Thank you. So we'll open up the floor to any public comments. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made. Motion to adjourn our meeting at 8:07 p.m.
Second
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And this one,